It's now been quarter of a century since the brutal and bloody civil war in Bosnia and Herzegovina came to an end, and yet there's still a real fear that the country could break apart. In this video, I'll look at whether Republika Srpska, the Bosnian Serb entity, could secede. As I'll show, it's a lot harder to do than many imagine. However, even the mere talk of secession is having dangerous effects. Hello, welcome to Independent Thinking, a channel dedicated to international relations, statehood, independence and the origins of countries. My name is James Ker-Lindsay. The 1990s saw some of the most brutal and bloody conflicts in Europe since the end of the Second World War. In 1990, the Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia broke apart, sparking a series of conflicts that would ravage the Western Balkans for the next decade. Perhaps the most brutal of these took place in Bosnia-Herzegovina, where Bosnian Serbs and Bosnian Croats fought to break away and unite with Serbia and Croatia respectively. In 1995, the civil war came to an end. Under the terms of the so-called Dayton peace agreement, the Bosnian Serbs agreed that their self-proclaimed entity, Republika Srpska, would be reintegrated into the Bosnian state, albeit with a high degree of autonomy. Over the course of the following decade, it seemed as though Bosnia was on course to slowly recover and rebuild. A number of major steps towards reconciliation took place, including the successful creation of a unified military. However, over the past decade and a half, progress has stalled. In fact, Bosnia has steadily slid backwards. Efforts to bring about much-needed constitutional reforms have failed. Meanwhile, political deadlock has grown between the communities. Perhaps the most destabilising development has been growing talk that the country may yet collapse. This has been fed by repeated statements from senior members of the Bosnian Serb leadership that Republika Srpska might try to break away from Bosnia and either form an independent state or else unite with neighbouring Serbia. But could Republika Srpska really break away from Bosnia? In truth, it's very hard to see how it could actually happen. For a start, there are extremely strong legal and political obstacles. Under the terms of the Dayton peace agreement, Republika Srpska is explicitly prohibited from seceding from Bosnia. This has been stated by UN resolutions and confirmed by the International Court of Justice. A unilateral declaration of independence would therefore be contrary to international law. Even if they went ahead and did it anyway, any attempt to proclaim independence would gain little traction. As has been seen in other cases, the international community strongly opposes unilateral acts of secession. Any declaration of independence would therefore be immediately opposed by the United States, the European Union, and many other countries around the world. This would mean that it would gain few, if any, recognitions. Republika Srpska would immediately become a pariah on the world stage. There'd also be very real practical consequences. Any declaration of independence would immediately result in economic sanctions. In all likelihood, the EU would take immediate steps to restrict all business and trading activity with the entity. Additionally, its borders with the rest of Bosnia and neighbouring Croatia would be closed. If nothing else, this would mean that a large part of northern Republika Srpska would immediately be left isolated. On top of this, all international air traffic into the territory would be suspended. In order to survive in such cases, most breakaway territories therefore need what is usually called a patron state. In this case, the obvious patron would be Serbia. However, there's little indication that the Serbian government would want to support an attempt to form an independent state, let alone an effort to unite with Serbia. Supporting either move would have massive implications for Serbia. By being seen to support an illegal secession, it too would almost certainly be put under international sanctions. This would not only undermine its economy, it would wreck all the progress that it's made in rehabilitating its image on the international stage since the wars of the 1990s. In view of this, some have suggested that Russia might instead be willing to act as a patron. Again, this seems highly unlikely. For a start, there'd be little to be gained from recognising an independent Bosnian Serb state. Moscow's efforts to secure recognition for the breakaway territories of Abkhazia and South Ossetia, which broke away from Georgia, have had poor results. It seems unlikely it would want to embarrass itself again by acting as a cheerleader for a territory in which it has little direct interest. Moreover, Russia would be in little position to offer much-needed practical support for a breakaway Bosnian Serb state. It has no direct land links to either Serbia or Republika Srpska. Indeed, it can't even reach the region by either land or air without passing through NATO territory, which almost certainly would be blocked in such a case. All things considered, there would seem to be little that Russia could do or would really want to do. For these reasons, it seems hard to see how any unilateral declaration of independence could succeed, or why any country would have any interest in trying to support it. However, while a declaration of independence would seem doomed to failure and thus seems unlikely to happen, this doesn't mean that there's no reason for concern. While there would seem to be no realistic prospect that Republika Srpska could break away from Bosnia, the mere fact that its leadership constantly suggests that it could is enough to destabilise the country in various ways. As the old maxim goes, what people perceive to be real is real in its consequences. In this sense, constant talk of breaking away is increasing tensions in the country. In many ways, it's just as destabilising, if not actually more destabilising, than an actual act of secession that could never realistically succeed. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please take a moment to hit the like button below, and don't forget to subscribe to get further content, and press the bell to be notified when I upload new videos. And do let me know in the comments section if you have any questions or if there are any other topics that you'd like to see me cover. Thanks again for watching, and see you again soon.